Come in, come on. Oh. Wow, okay. I will print it, thank you.
What about in that one? That one?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 HundrED Innovation Summit.
We are thrilled that you are joining us today. I'm Khadija Aladdin, the head of community.
And I'm Mariah O'Mara, the head of communications. We will be guiding you through today's program in style.
Starting right here at HundrED HQ, located in Helsinki, Finland. Usually we invite you here to be with us in person because we love to host.
You are an excellent host, Khadija.
Thank you, Mariah.
Although I have to say, November is not the best time of the year to come to Finland. If you're going to come, either commit to the cold and come during winter, or come in the summer when the sun never sets.
I mean, it might not be the best time of the year weather-wise, but we still hope to see you in person at next year's summit in November. And although we can't be together physically this year, we want to share with you the inspiring things happening both here in Helsinki and around the world.
So, over the next 3 days, we are going to take you on a world tour of the most innovative solutions to education's biggest challenges.
And we are grateful that we get to share that journey with you, our incredible HundrED community.
We have a jam-packed program in store for you today. In just under 60 minutes, we will announce the selected innovators for the HundrED 2022 Global Collection. And on this journey, we will hear from some of these innovators on topics like girls' education, climate change, and crisis education.
You'll also hear from members of the HundrED team who will share insights in education from the past year, thoughts on the future of innovation in education, and so much more.
And we want to hear from you too. There will be workshops and sessions across these 3 days where you can connect with like-minded individuals, and you can find details about all of these events in the video notes down below.
This year is all about you, so shorter programs.
Because who isn't suffering from a bit of Zoom fatigue?
Yes, definitely me. And we also tried to be inclusive this year when it comes to time zones. We love you, Australia.
Shout out to Derek and Kim,
our country leads.
We even had a Spanish language workshop. Vamos a celebrar, reír y brindar juntos.
So thanks for taking the time to be together with us here today and throughout the rest of the summit days.
Talk to us in the chat using the HundrED 2021 hashtag and show us where you're calling in from. Is it a cafe? Are you at home, at work? Let us know what your summit looks like.
Our community means so much to us, and that's why we wanted to open today's program with a message from the community. We're going to hear from Chris, Blessing, Elizabeth, Sally, and Binara. So over to you, friends.
Hello everyone, I'm Sally. I'm delighted to have the chance to represent the HundrED Youth Ambassador community in kickstarting the Global Collection launch.
G'day everyone. What a year we have had.
Dear innovators and education change makers, it is the time of the year again where we come together to celebrate our achievements, resilience, and huge milestone in the past year, both as a community and as individuals.
Hi everyone, my name is Binara. I'm currently the youngest youth ambassador in the HundrED organization and the founder of Green Heart Foundation.
Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth Bruce and I'm joining you from North Carolina in the United States.
We've all beaten through the odds to contribute meaningfully to educational development in our countries.
COVID-19 has led to school suspensions that greatly affected learning outcomes.
I'm sure I'm not alone in realizing over the past year just how critical it is to be agile. As an educational consultant, projects have required an ability to pivot.
COVID and these lockdowns, it's changed everything. It's stoked a fiery urgency to better understand and what we truly value.
And remote teaching, the pandemic actually has redefined our perception of the vulnerabilities in the existing education systems.
Until now, I have participated in many global events representing HundrED organization and Green Heart Foundation to share the message. I believe if we encourage the youth to do eco-friendly innovations and add the message of protecting the environment while including good qualities into their education, then we will be able to change the next generation.
Go well, everyone.
Thank you, Chris, Blessing, Elizabeth, Sally, and Binara. Wow, that's a mouthful. If you are not yet part of the HundrED community and curious what the excitement is about, I warmly invite you to apply as an ambassador. We will add links in the chat. And if you're 12 to 18, we have opened registration for the Youth Ambassador community as well. So this year, I spent a lot of time thinking about how to involve our youth ambassadors more in the work we do at HundrED. So we thought, why not have our youth ambassadors interview our selected innovators to help more people learn about the work they're doing? We're calling this new series Ask Me Anything. And as our youth ambassador Binara put it, that literally means they can ask the selected innovators anything. So this is from questions about their work to more personal questions about who they are and the future of education. We will be releasing this series early next year, but we have prepared a special sneak peek that includes some of the selected innovators from this year's collection. Are we ready?
Yes! Yes.
And we're going to do a really interesting segment called Ask Me Anything, which literally means we can ask him anything.
I'm a HundrED Youth Ambassador for the United Kingdom.
Powerful 13-year-old and 15-year-old. I love it. Let's do this.
You have to sing karaoke. What song do you pick?
And one of my best superpowers that makes me so good at what I do is I love connecting the right people to other people.
Anyone who's disadvantaged at the moment and who we need to ensure gets a quality education.
And I thought if my mother is learning simply from living, that means everyone who's living is learning something.
I'd like to make bridges between stories and ways that we can think about global issues.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to change the world?
Not just to be passionate about it, I think it's to go beyond that, to be obsessed about that.
Keep asking those tough questions. Those are amazing.
Thank you so much.
That is so cool, Khadija. And what a great way to bring different communities together within HundrED. Speaking of communities, this session is really all about our selected innovator community, celebrating them and their work. And we have a special message from our founding fathers, Saku Tuominen and Lasse Leponiemi, to our innovator community. Over to you, Lasse.
Thank you, Mariah. This is one of the best moments of our year when we are finally able to release the HundrED Global Collection for 2022. And it's actually the 5th global collection that we are going to release.
Thank you, Lasse. When we founded HundrED together with this gentleman 5 years ago, there were two key problems in the world of education that we wanted to solve. The first one was that practically all of the discussion around education was extremely negative. So what we wanted to do is that we wanted to change the tone, and we wanted to be discussing not only about problems but about the solutions. Because what we found out was that of course there's massive challenges happening in education globally, but at the same time there's huge amount of bright spots which are not getting the visibility they deserve, and we wanted to give them that. And then the other one was that so much of the education was happening on a local level, and we live in an extremely international global world and so on. And at the same time, the educators in Latin America, educators in Africa, they don't know practically anything that is happening in Europe, and vice versa. We don't know about the brilliant solutions that Africa, India, Australia, US are full of, and we wanted to change that as well. So what we want to do at HundrED is that we want to identify impactful and scalable education innovations, and we help them spread. And this is a big day for us because we are releasing the new global collection.
And when we are looking at this global collection that we are going to announce, there are a few key topics that are more highlighted than others. One of them is, for example, teacher development, collaborative learning, and creativity-related educational innovations that we have been able to identify all over the world. But then also this year, we are going to have one additional thing together with our global collection, and that's called Hall of Fame.
Yeah, when we started to create these global collections, we were having slight doubts about the quantity and quality of the education innovations, meaning that can we identify 100 innovations that are truly impactful and truly scalable? And pretty soon we understood is that that's not the problem, because the great solutions are plentiful. We have yet to found a country which is not having great education innovations. And that's why we wanted to create one innovation ourselves. And like Lasse mentioned, our new innovation is called the Hall of Fame. And Hall of Fame is consisting of innovations which have been selected at least three times to the global collection, and they have been growing, they have been impactful, they have been scalable, and so forth. And like Lasse mentioned, is that today we are launching the first 7 innovations that go to the Hall of Fame. And again, that is something we are extremely proud and extremely excited about.
Let's hear one of the Hall of Fame innovations. The world's largest lesson is one of these 7 innovations selected to this new collection. They are focusing on sustainability education, and by the date they have been affecting more than 17 million students around the world in 98 countries. So next we will hear from Allison Bellwood, who is the creator of the world's largest lesson. So over to you, Allison.
Hello, I'm Allison Bellwood, Director of the World's Largest Lesson. This is the 3rd year that we've had the honour to be included as a HundrED innovator, and it's great to be able to share some perspectives with you today. At the World's Largest Lesson, we are working in the education for sustainable development space, using the SDGs as a framework for engaging students in real-world issues and helping them identify where and how they can make a difference. I'm lucky enough to spend a lot of time meeting some of the most brilliant and committed educationalists around. It makes me excited about education and more determined than ever to make a difference. It does also make me frustrated, though, that we're not getting the kind of traction behind change that I would like. Education just doesn't seem exciting to the wider world. I'm a marketeer originally, and I spent a lot of time working with brands that you see in supermarkets every day. And so I often imagine what it would be like to relaunch education just as once I could relaunch a brand. We could give it new positioning and purpose. We could make it look different on the outside, and we could reformulate it on the inside. Externally, it would appear dynamic and current. And on the inside, its formulation would be a brilliant recipe of developing a sense of self, resilience, and personal responsibility. It would build skills to learn from others, form strong relationships, engage positively with technology, and be able to navigate an uncertain world of work. And there would be a special ingredient, ingredient X. And that, for me, would be a consciousness and love for the earth that we all live on. Wouldn't it be great if we could shake everything up in this way? But we just don't seem to be able to do it. Education is such a beast of a system, and it's changing so frustratingly slowly. So it's led me in my work this year to look at where we can just make a start with some of these things and give as many teachers and students the chance as possible to try something new in a way that's actually possible just to build into your everyday busy schedule. Every year we pick a theme from the SDGs and build learning experiences around it. This year we've focused on climate and the environment, goals 13, 14 and 15. We've developed simple and thought-provoking learning that takes a broader look at the impact of climate change and also enables children to reflect on their feelings and share or create a space to share those with adults. It's not a full climate curriculum, but it is a start. We've also zoomed in on an area of learning that we feel is often overlooked in the classroom, ideation as part of problem solving. The ability to consistently generate ideas and express them impactfully is something everyone needs. So we formed a collaboration with the new Earthshot Prize and created a resource pack we're calling Generation Earthshot. It's an organised framework for teachers to use in which children take a number of steps to innovate and invent solutions for climate and the environment that are linked to the 5 problems that are set out within the Earthshot Prize. People sometimes ask whether what we do is create a resource bank for teachers or whether we're running a campaign. In truth, it's both. And it's probably both for any of you trying to change the system by fighting for a new approach that works. This year, our campaign has helped children to speak for themselves about the kind of learning that they want. We've collected messages from 10,000 children in over 100 countries about the difference it would make if they could have more climate-based learning. And we're really delighted that this very week, an enormous billboard of those messages is in place centrally within the Blue Zone at COP26 to ask decision makers to make this happen. This cycle of learning that leads to action is really satisfying, and it would be great if we could all do more of it together. This network is really powerful and is becoming even more so. Let's use it to campaign for change and to make sure that that change happens. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison, for sharing more about the focus of World's Largest Lesson, and congratulations on the launch of Generation Earthshot. Your focus on climate change and empowering young people is inspiring. We are so proud to have the World's Largest Lesson in the Hall of Fame, and you can find out more about their work in the links posted below. So Mariah, where are we headed to next?
Next, we're going to hear from Oliver Percovich, founder and executive director of Skateistan. Skateistan is an award-winning NGO empowering children through education and skateboarding in Afghanistan, Cambodia, and South Africa. Innovations like Skateistan are critical as they provide safe spaces for children impacted by crisis. Over to you, Oliver.
Hi everyone, I'm Oliver Percovich and I'm the founder and executive director of an NGO called Skateistan. Skateistan was founded on the streets of Kabul in Afghanistan in 2008, and our aim is to empower children through skateboarding and creative education. I'm not an educational expert. I'm also not an expert in international development. So when I started skateboarding in Kabul on the street, and I saw that a lot of kids were interested in joining me, I didn't have any preconceived ideas about what they needed. So I asked them. Most of them were street working, and they told me that they wanted to go to school. And when I asked the girls what they needed, they told me that they wanted an indoor space to skate so that they wouldn't be in danger. The following year, Skateistan opened its first skate school, an educational space with an indoor skate park. This accidental start to Skateistan has served me pretty well. I learned that our starting point in education should always be to ask children what they want to learn. Interested children are motivated children, and motivated children tend to progress much more quickly. More importantly, they stay motivated. And that's how lifelong learning comes about. By giving people the option to pursue something that interests them in a way that encourages their learning. This model of child-led learning is by its very nature inclusive. We often think of inclusion as something to retrofit. How do we adapt our existing programs to make them more accessible for everyone? This is a mistake. If we start by asking children what and how they wish to learn, we will create inclusive models from the very start. If I hadn't asked the girls first, the chances are we would have built a school with an outdoor skate park and then wondered why the girls weren't showing up. A lot of people worry that child-led learning will lead to children missing out on vital skills. This is a disservice to young people and their desire to shape their own futures. So let me ask you this. What can you do to turn your classrooms, your lecture halls, your forest schools and learning spaces into places where children feel safe enough to express what they really want and need from you? This is the start point for education that is truly inclusive. This is the start point for children who can go on to change the world. You just won't quite know how.
Thank you so much, Oliver. As Oliver mentioned, Skateistan was founded in Afghanistan, and in light of the recent crisis, Skateistan has had to suspend their programs for the safety of their students and staff. They plan to return, although there is some uncertainty around how the programs will operate under this new political regime. This crisis has made the team at Skateistan think about their model and how they can continue to innovate and provide creative education to as many children as possible. If you want to learn more about Skateistan and the incredible work they're doing, check out the notes below.
Absolutely. And now we're going to dive a bit deeper into the important topic of girls' education and equity, as they've been two big themes this year. Lisa Rodricks, Vice President of Operations at Educate Girls, will be joining us. They work in partnership with the Indian government to empower girls to go back to school. Welcome, Lisa.
Namaste. I'm Lisa Rodricks, Vice President at Educate Girls in India. My organization works in some of the most remote and tribal villages in India. Our work focuses on addressing systemic challenges caused due to deep-rooted patriarchy and poverty that continues to keep girls out of school. In the past 14 years, through a volunteer base of over 15,000 teen balikas, we have connected 950,000 children with education to help bridge the gender and literacy gap. The last 18 months have been extremely challenging for us all. Today, we are at the brink of a global crisis impacting over 250 million children in India, and we're likely to see 20 million more secondary school girls drop out of school after the pandemic passes. A post-pandemic response would require a focus on relief, recovery, and then reimagine the education system with a gender lens and inclusion of the most vulnerable groups. Last year, we addressed this with our community-based learning initiative called Camp Vidya, which will reach close to nearly 500,000 children this year. As schools reopen in India, we will continue to create pathways championed by communities themselves to bring girls back to school. Thank you, HundrED, for recognizing our work and featuring us among the top 100 global innovations. Congratulations to all the innovations this year, and I'm certain that through the HundrED Innovation Summit, we will be able to accelerate our efforts towards the collective goal of education for all. I am Lisa Rodricks. I educate girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Wasn't that a powerful statement on the importance of girls' education? This is just a preview of 3 of the incredible innovations in this year's collection. If you want to learn more about World's Largest Lesson, Skateistan, or Educate Girls, you can find more information linked down below. Let us know in the chat which innovation resonated the most with you.
We will be releasing the full collection soon. But first, let's talk a little bit more about how we go about selecting these innovations. To tell you more about that, we have our education specialist, Clara Garcia Milan, here to tell us about the research process.
Happy to join the party, Katija! Hi, everyone. It's been so exciting working on the research team this year, and with the help of the HundrED community, selecting the innovations for this year's global collection. Now, I will tell you more about our research process, which can be summarized in 4 steps. First, discovery. This phase involves our amazing HundrED community who recommend education innovations and help us identify successful practices in their contexts. Second, the shortlist, in which the HundrED research team reviews every single innovation in our system and creates a shortlist according to our selection criteria of impact and scalability. The third phase is the Academy Board, we send the shortlisted innovations to our academy, which consists of 120 experts in education from over 50 countries from all over the world. They review the shortlisted innovations, and that helps us understand how those innovations would work in different contexts. And the final step, the selection workshops. The reviews of the Academy are evaluated by our research team in a series of workshops to select the best innovations for this year's collection. In these workshops, we also look at the overall balance of the collection, as we want to represent different perspectives, themes, and contexts, because diversity is one of our main principles. Actually, we are very happy to say that this year's global collection represents more countries than last year's collection, as we intensified our discovery work in the Global South. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our Head of Research, Crystal Green, who is joining from the United States. She will talk about the main trends in education this year. Over to you, Crystal.
Thanks, Clara. Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I'm Crystal Green, the new head of research. It's been a privilege working on this collection with Clara and seeing the amazing work that is being done to improve education globally. Now that Clara has told you a bit about how we go about selecting the innovations, I'd like to share with you some of the key trends that we noticed in this year's collection. The first is teacher professional development. In this year's global collection, what stands out is the importance of teachers. Strengthening teacher professional development has proven essential, especially during the pandemic. And the high resilience and adaptability of educators has shown that teachers will continue to be central in education. When it comes to educational innovation, our global collection reflects that impactful innovations require teacher training. In order to ensure a successful implementation of an innovation, teachers need to be prepared to make changes at the classroom level. The second trend is communities and learning environments. The role of parents and caregivers has been reconceptualized during the pandemic, and parental engagement in children's education has been thrust into the center of all school activities. Therefore, it's not surprising that this year the focus would be not just on teachers, but on the adults and caregivers in a child's life that contribute to all children's education. Parents and communities in general are integral and crucial for the development of the child. So if you're interested in parental engagement and you want to learn more about it, tomorrow, we're going to have a session on how family engagement leads to student success. You can find more information on the video notes below. The third trend is 21st century skills. The focus of many of the innovations in this collection is on areas where there's often a lack or a gap in traditional education. For example, collaborative learning skills, creative thinking, play. Most of these skills and competencies are recognized as rapidly growing in importance. The final trend is educational equity, access, and inclusion. Among these, we see a focus on gender equality, rural education, literacy, mental health, and citizenship education. Now, all of these categories refer to improving access to education and participation in society, aiming attention at various social groups that are affected by structural inequalities. Many innovations in this global collection tackle this issue under the umbrella of citizenship education, with a focus on increasing awareness among students about matters such as human rights, diversity, and the environment, in order to contribute to a better society. Back to you, Clara.
Thank you so much, Crystal. That was really interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, our HundrED Academy plays an essential role in the selection process. We are so grateful for their time and collaboration. The reviews they make are insightful, and we often hear about how powerful and inspiring it is to learn about the innovations being considered for selection.
Totally, Clara. It just did not feel right keeping the positive feedback just to ourselves. So we came up with a new format where innovators received kind comments from the HundrED Academy and filmed their reactions. Let's take a look.
We're really excited to look at the comments the evaluators made on our project.
Wendy said this innovation helps to transform spaces into community places
where children can play, learn, and connect with the community. The innovation has impact not just on the learning outcomes, but also community growth. I think this is so true because with Play Africa, whatever that the kids learn, they also, when they play, they also learn doing, and then it also builds the connection between the kids and the families.
Excellent and so innovative. Connecting our youth with nature is part of the solution to build more empathetic societies. Really love the approach. Got it! I really love the empathetic.
Wonderful initiative that can make a world of a difference to a young person in difficult circumstances. This is really lovely. Thank you.
The idea addresses trauma in a creative way for adolescent girls. Yes, the arts are used in a way that empowers girls to help them find their voices. I love the title Protsahan, that means encouragement. The word provides an image that is filled with hope. Thanks, Argi. In fact, that was one of the core ideas, the core founding ideas when we started.
I love the enthusiasm. Actually, Khadija, I have one more kind comment for you. Khadija Aladdin, she's one of the kindest, most empathetic people I've ever had the pleasure to work with.
Mariah, you are too sweet. I love working with you. You're so good at what you do. And we'd like to invite everyone watching to give a kind comment to someone in the chat. Let's keep the positive vibes going.
It has been so great getting to know some of the selected innovations, but behind all of these innovations are some pretty incredible people. It has now become a tradition at the HundrED Summit to name an Innovator of the Year. Last year, we selected Piet Gymonprez, co-founder and managing director of the MyMachine Global Foundation.
MyMachine currently has 11 chapters in 3 countries and has no plans of slowing down. Let's hear how Piet's year has been.
Hi, it's so good to be here. A year ago, HundrED announced that I was Innovator of the Year, a complete surprise, but what an honor. And of course, I could not be standing here if it wasn't for my co-founders and the incredible MyMachine Global team. Now, in MyMachine, we unite children in primary class who invented Dream Machine, anything goes, as long as they really want it, with university students who conceptualize those ideas and vocational, technical, secondary level students who produce a working prototype. It's about building creative confidence, showing that their ideas matter, that their ideas can make a difference, and that you can bring any idea to life, as long as you collaborate, respect each other's talent, and being persistent and resilient. Now, HundrED focuses a lot on helping us innovators to grow, and we grow our model in 2 ways. One is by franchising, creating chapters in different countries around the world, and the second is by MyMachine Dreams Drop, which is an online world map inviting anybody to upload their Dream Machine idea, but aligning it with an annual campaign targeting primary school teachers around the world to join with their class. And then we pick some of those ideas and connect them to university students in different countries who conceptualize them. Now, the past year has been incredible for us. We've been able to add 4 new chapters, adding Croatia, Spain, United States and Mexico to our existing list of countries, including South Africa, Portugal, Slovakia, Norway, Slovenia and Belgium. And the 2021 MyMachine Dreams Drop campaign has seen educators joining from 21 countries on all continents. So we take a deep bow to the HundrED team for creating this incredible global network of like-minded people. It surely helped us in growing our model. And I want to finish by expressing our heartfelt congratulations for my successor. It's so well deserved and we wish them an incredible year. Thank you so much.
It's been a privilege knowing and working with Piet. MyMachine has been reselected for this year's global collection. And now it's time to announce the Innovator of the Year for 2021-2022. This year, it's Morgan Lance from OneSky for All Children for their incredible work with both scaling and impact assessment.
Congratulations, Morgan and the whole team at OneSky. OneSky has been selected for 300 collections this year: Teachers for a Changing World, Parental Engagement, and the Global Collection. And they have some pretty exciting news to share with us as well. I will pass it over to Andi Nahutala, our content director, who sat down with Morgan and a special guest, Katie Mack, investment director at the David Weekley Family Foundation.
So let's start with the good news. What has brought you two together?
David Weekley Family Foundation made a grant to OneSky this year.
Congratulations, that's super good news. So Katie, I'll continue with you. So you're the investment director at the foundation. What made you invest in OneSky in the first place?
Yeah, so OneSky falls into one of our main sector areas, education. We also do investments in livelihoods development, in justice, and in primary healthcare. But in education, we're always looking for organizations that have really good proof of impact alongside a desire to grow beyond philanthropic support and a plan to achieve that. And so we're looking for a credible plan for scale.
So I'm interested to hear, Morgan, like what will this investment allow you to do that you couldn't otherwise do?
Well, as Katie mentioned, we intend to scale through government adoption. And this investment from the David Weekley Family Foundation will allow us to really be innovative in our work with government and in our planning to create an agreement with government that will allow us to hopefully embed our program into the national system of education. We've been invited already by the Ministry of Education and Training in Vietnam to expand our training program across 19 provinces. But what we need to do is unlock the sustainable funding to do that. So our hope is that through a government adoption model, we'll be able to unlock multilateral funding.
So I would love to hear, like, how did you polish and like crystallize your pitch? Are there any tips that you could share?
I think really understanding what the funder is looking for and being very, very clear that you are aligned with that funder. I think one of the mistakes that that nonprofits make, and it's because of our incredible need for funding at all times, is that we can get into a habit of sending out, proposals to everyone and anyone. And it's so much better to find a foundation that you really believe you are aligned with, and then craft your pitch to talk to that alignment.
We know that like there are a lot of people listening to this one, and like a lot of innovators that are hungry for extra funding so that they can also put those big plans in action. Katie, I want to hear from you. Like, what, in your opinion, what are the things that you kind of look for in a pitch? What makes a pitch stand out for you?
Yeah, so we really focus on the two things I mentioned already, but I'll add some detail. We're looking for credible plan for scale. So there are a lot of funders out there who fund organizations who are much more place-based or have an intention to impact one area and stay local to that one area. We're really looking for organizations that plan to grow beyond that area and to scale. So that credible plan to scale. The second is evidence of impact. And so sometimes that might mean an external study. It might mean a very large RCT in conjunction with a university or something, but it also might just be sort of your regular everyday monitoring and evaluation that the organization is collecting that's right-sized to the size and stage of the organization, that shows us that the leadership of the organization cares about data. They're making decisions based on outcomes, not based on inputs, and that they're able then to innovate on their own programming based on the data coming out of their impact assessments. So we really are looking for that evidence of impact.
How important are impact assessments to you when you are evaluating potential investments?
Yeah, I would say that they're definitely important, but we're always looking for right-sized impact measurement to the size of the organization. So if we're talking to an organization that maybe has an annual budget of $200,000 a year, we're not expecting them to have a massive RCT, right? We're looking for that daily measurement. What are your indicators that you care? How do you know if your program is working? What are your best proxies of impact at your current stage? What data is available freely and to the public?
I want to say at this point, thank you so much for this conversation. I would have wanted to continue this forever, but I wish you both the best luck for the coming year. And now we're going back to the studio. Thank you.
Thank you, Annina, Morgan, and Kate. Such valuable tips on how to acquire funding and get started with impact assessment.
I'm looking forward to checking in with OneSky and their news next year. I love how the summit is all about the inspiring people making a change in education and hearing from them their stories, challenges, and successes.
Absolutely. Well, we said it in the beginning, this summit is all about you, the HundrED community.
A community group that I want to highlight is young people. I absolutely love working with young people and seeing the selected innovations through their eyes. One selected innovation that really puts young people at the center of their learning is TUMO. We asked Nancy, a student at the TUMO Center, to take us around their facility in Armenia. Over to you, Nancy.
Thanks for the introduction, HundrED, and welcome to TUMO. I'm Nancy, and I've been a student at TUMO Yerevan since 2018. TUMO is a free after-school educational program at the intersection of art and tech. Teens all over Armenia and Artsakh can come to TUMO and build on their skills or start from scratch. Come with me as we see the entire process of the program. Here, we learn everything from coding to filmmaking to graphic design, and we have 14 different learning areas to choose from. We have our program in 3 parts: self-learning, workshops, and learning labs. Self-learning activities are short, interactive exercises developed by the TUMO team to inspire and build up skills. Coaches help us fully understand our activities and guide us on our academic journey. We have self-learning to get to workshops of our choosing, and we have 3 levels to conquer in the workshops. Personally, I'm a fan of game development and photography. Those are my favorites. For example, in the game development workshop, we learn about level design and use C# to program our games on the Unity engine. Now, let's see our robotics room. Besides self-learning and workshops, we also have a 3rd portion of our program called Learning Labs. Leading experts from different fields come to TUMO to work with students on practical projects. Now, let's take a look at our music room. And this is the recording studio next to the music room. This is our cinema. We currently have 4 centers in Yerevan, Gyumri, Dilijan, and Stepanakert. We also have something called a TUMO box, which is like a mini TUMO equipped with anything we need for the self-learning part of the program. By the way, we have a number of international TUMO centers, such as TUMO Paris, TUMO Berlin, and TUMO Moscow. And now, we've started a campaign to fund 16 centers and 110 boxes all over Armenia. With your help, we'll make it happen. Donate today at armenia.tumo.org. So, this was TUMO. Now back to the HundrED studio.
That was amazing and really makes me want to go to Armenia. And Nancy, you're such a natural host. It's always great seeing the innovations in action. It really brings the mission and vision for our work at HundrED to life.
We're now coming closer and closer to the final reveal of the global collection. But before we do, we can't move forward without having a look back at what we have done this year.
We have worked with some pretty remarkable partners to highlight different regions and themes for our HundrED Spotlight projects. This year, we have had more spotlights than ever before and have highlighted innovations from specific regions like the 21st Century Skills in Latin America and the Caribbean Spotlight that we did with the Inter-American Development Bank, and the Holistic Education in South and Southeast Asia report with the Royal Academy of Bhutan. We've also explored themes like teacher professional development with the World Bank, social and emotional learning with the LEGO Foundation, and parental engagement with the Brookings Institution, Kidsburg, and IDEO. We are incredibly grateful to be working with such amazing organizations to further our shared mission of helping every child to flourish in life, no matter what happens. We are so excited to present to you our year in review.
I'm delighted that this year, the LEGO Foundation has partnered again with HundrED to identify some of the most impactful and scalable education innovations which foster SEL skills. The aim of our collaboration is to showcase a carefully curated shortlist of education innovations in SEL. Why? Because people are asking how. If you want to change something, you need to know how to do it. You need examples, and we know that there are many examples of leading practices and solutions already impacting children and educators around the world.
Now we are really excited to be able to partner with HundrED on this spotlight on holistic education, looking at helping every individual actualize their potential to become constructive, contributory citizens of a just and a harmonious society.
Really excited about this collaboration with HundrED, IDEO, and Kidsburg.
We are really excited through this design sprint process to elevate the expertise and honor the expertise that parents bring.
Especially during the pandemic, we've seen at Kidsburg and in the stories that we write and what we're hearing from parents and caregivers, that they are becoming more and more engaged. They have a unique lens in seeing how their kids are learning now. And so they are going to demand what they're hoping to see in their future, because every parent and caregiver is the best advocate for their own child. And so yes, we believe it is a community-oriented project. And that is why we're embarking on this study, is to really bring parents to that table and have them drive the solutions that they would like to see happen in schools and then elsewhere.
And we are interested in formative assessment because knowledge of students' learning in the moment can in fact improve individual feedback and teaching. And there is a need for new methods in formative assessment to allow students to monitor and regulate their own learning. And it takes into account the importance of student agency and motivation as well. And we aim at understanding how assessment can be used for the benefit of both teaching and learning. And the spotlight will provide evidence-based and replicable approaches for schools and how individualized learning and adaptive teaching can be implemented.
We are super excited in this partnership that HundrED and the World Bank has been developed, which we call Teachers for a Teaching World. We are trying to find impactful, scalable solutions which are enriched with technology. I don't think we are going to get very far just if we say that teachers are essential. At a system level, teachers are critical, and we will have to develop the best cognitive and human resources to effectively transform the life of many.
When we started this session, I asked one word to describe how your day was going. And now when we end the session, I would like to bring it back. One word to describe how you're feeling after this session. You can say it out loud and it will be just mindful of your ears, but also please leave it in the chat. So 3, 2, 1.
Encouraged.
Inspired.
There is a lot to be done to improve our educational systems, and this is not only a responsibility for governments, but a shared responsibility for the education community that involves all of us, governments, business, citizens, and the entire ecosystem. The institutions you all represent here today have been and should be the place where kids and young people come to learn together and develop skills that help them thrive in life. And each one of us have a role in this learning ecosystem too. Many of you are already providing opportunities for our future generations, creating programs that are impacting local communities, and we want governments and other organizations to be able to replicate and take those programs, those ideas to scale. And this is why the IDB partnered with HundrED to identify effective models for cultivating 21st century skills in children and youth by looking for innovations from Latin America and the Caribbean.
We have done a lot this past year. It's cool to see it all wrapped up into one video.
Right? It's so nice to take a walk down memory lane, and there is still so much to look forward to. We currently have one spotlight project still accepting submissions on the topic of formative assessment, created in partnership with the Jacobs Foundation. If you have or know of an innovation related to formative assessment, please submit and share before November 15th, 2001. You can find more information linked below.
Mariah, my formative assessment to you is you're so good at hosting and I love your voice. It's been such a pleasure to co-host with you. And to you too, I hope our community has enjoyed your time as well.
Thank you, Khatija. It has been such a pleasure organizing this year's summit with you. Now, it's the time we've all been waiting for.
What time is it?
It's time for the Global Collection launch. We obviously could not do this without the help of our whole team.
So, 3, 2, 1, congratulations! Congratulations to all the selected innovators this year. Thank you to the HundrED Academy for helping to review the innovations and the HundrED community for supporting and sharing our work around the world.
Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more engaging content throughout the next few days. Tomorrow we will have a session on parental engagement hosted in partnership with Kidsburg, the Brookings Institution, and the Grable Foundation. And join us again on Friday when we announce the selected innovators for the HundrED Spotlight on Social and Emotional Learning in partnership with the LEGO Foundation.
And engaging summit conversations throughout the week hosted by our country leads, as well as an innovator workshop on networking within Hive. Check the links below to register and hope to see you online.
Thank you and
cheers! Cheers!